Hi, this is Jeff Clark. I'm going to talk about the International Atomic Energy Agency and the role it plays in protecting the world from the harm that could be caused by radioactive materials. Atomic energy can be harnessed for important civilian purposes like the production of electricity, or can be used for destructive purposes like the creation of atomic weapons. In both cases, the use of radioactive materials creates a unique public policy challenge and is why the international community has organized to safeguard against abuses. For more than 60 years, the International Atomic Energy Agency, the IAEA, has played a key role safeguarding the international community. The agency works to facilitate the safe and responsible use of nuclear power technologies while preventing the proliferation of nuclear weapons or other destructive and threatening uses. The agency's promotion and control roles recognize the incredible power of atomic energy and its potential for use in safe and unsafe ways. While the IAEA is not a direct regulatory body, the agency supports member states in achieving effective, independent, and sustainable governmental, regulatory, and safety frameworks based on IAEA safety standards and peer reviews. Major experimentation and breakthroughs in nuclear fission occurred in the 1930s, and it was immediately clear that the power of the atom was greater than available from any previous source. Scientists had their doubts, but by the end of the 30s, an international race was on to develop atomic technology for civilian and military applications. With the outbreak of World War II, the focus shifted almost entirely to the creation of nuclear weapons. The United States was the first to succeed and use those against Japan. After the war, countries like the Soviet Union began to pursue nuclear weapons for themselves. Today, 8 nations have detonated nuclear weapons and have acknowledged nuclear arsenals. In 1953, U.S. President Eisenhower called for the establishment of a new international agency to help oversee the use of nuclear energy and nuclear technologies for both peaceful and military purposes. The United States initiated the international process, and in the years following his speech, helped guide negotiations. Understandably, occurring as they did during the height of the Cold War, these were challenged by distrust between the U.S. and Soviet Union. In the end, the statute was designed and approved by 81 nations in October of 1956. The IAEA, despite its origin, is not part of the UN. The agency does report to the body, especially the UN Security Council, and it works in 6 primary areas: nuclear energy, nuclear safety and security, nuclear sciences and applications, safeguards, technical cooperation, and management. Funding for the agency is provided by member states with contributions for extraordinary items and special programs made on a voluntary basis. For 2019, agency funding is approximately 553 million euros or $630 million, a relatively modest budget given the scope of their work. The agency is governed by 3 bodies: the General Conference, made up of all signatory countries where they debate issues of importance, the Board of Governors, which adopts policies, and the Secretariat, which is composed of staff that carries out the work. The IAEA is guided by 6-year plans which help define their objectives. The 6-year plan for 2018 to 2023, also known as the medium-term strategy, builds upon the last plan and seeks to deliver results in several different areas. There are currently 454 nuclear reactors in operation around the world, with 400,285 megawatts of generating capacity. In 2017, nuclear power plants provided 2,488 terawatt hours of power generation, which is equivalent to roughly 10% of global power consumption. The IAEA helps countries with operating nuclear power plants ensure that they are operated in a safe manner and that they have plans made for future operation and eventual decommissioning and disposal. The agency also encourages international collaboration in the development of nuclear power and sharing of best practices. The IAEA also works with countries to promote disaster planning and security. The agency has teams that work with large population centers and security and police forces to prevent and prepare for attacks or other disasters involving radioactive materials. As nuclear technology becomes more common in civilian use, the availability of radioactive material becomes of more concern. One of the roles of the IAEA is to help prevent the proliferation of nuclear weapons. These efforts tend to garner the most headlines because of the nature of the work, as it generally follows action by the international community in opposition to a state actor pursuing nuclear weapons outside of international conventions. Much attention has been paid to the Iran nuclear deal, where the IAEA is implementing an agreement crafted to allow them to monitor that country's compliance with nuclear nonproliferation commitments. It is in Iran's interest to provide inspectors access so that they can credibly confirm compliance. North Korea poses an even greater challenge, as it has a hidden nuclear research and development program vastly larger than Iran's and an arsenal of assembled weapons that is estimated to be between 20 and 60 warheads. The IAEA is planning to take on similar obligations as in Iran, but many believe North Korea will work to hide their ambitions. The IAEA also plays an important role in assessing nuclear accidents and providing guidance in cleanup and recovery efforts where nuclear materials are involved. The disasters in Chernobyl and in Fukushima provided opportunities for IAEA expertise to guide the cleanup. Despite the high stakes of their important work, the agency is stretched thin, with only 300 inspectors who must monitor the nuclear facilities and capabilities of nearly 200 countries. That, shared with the massive scale of the problems they face and the competition between superpowers, gives the IAEA challenges like those felt by other UN-affiliated organizations. The IAEA charter has been changed several times to reflect changes in the world. But as long as nuclear power and nuclear weapons remain a part of our society, the IAEA will remain busy, given the many responsibilities placed upon them by international consensus.